Beaumont, live and direct. This is WrestlePod. Welcome to this very unplanned special edition of the program. I'm Ian Beaumont, good to have you with us. Boy, mind officially blown yesterday when this news read it. When I read this news, I should say, I literally did not know this was going to happen. I'd heard the rumor last week and I thought, get out of here. There's no way in hell this is going to happen. Hell will have to freeze over before this actually happens. Guess what? Hell has officially frozen over. No way to describe it, really. Hell has officially frozen over. Because Double J, Jeff Jarrett, Jeff, Jarrett, has been officially announced as being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Holy jaw dropper. I mean, it's completely weird and completely unbelievable that Double J, Jeff Jarrett, would actually be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But why? Why is it so weird? Well, let's start with a career retrospective, because that is what it's all about with the Hall of Fame. Jeff Jarrett basically was born into wrestling. His father was a longtime promoter, Jerry Jarrett, very much say one that name that will be familiar. His father owned the Continental Wrestling Association, and Jeff Jarrett started there working as a referee, training under his father, and Tojo Yamamoto as well. Made his ring debut basically at the age of 18, when longtime CWA jobber Tony Falk challenged Jarrett, then a referee, to a match. Jarrett accepted the challenge, as did, and actually managed to wrestle Falk for a 10-minute draw, a time limit draw. Not bad. He's actually third generation. Everybody talks about Randy Orton being the first third generation. No. His grandfather, Eddie Marlin, was also a wrestler, as was his father, Jerry Jarrett, before him. Jerry purchased the Texas-based World Class Championship Wrestling, WCCW promotion, merged it with the CWA, to become the United States Wrestling Association. Now, this will be familiar to some of you pre the Attitude Era, when Jerry the King Lawler, who was also working on USWA, actually would also actually had a rivalry with ECW at the time, USWA versus ECW. This was 1996, 1997, I think. 96, I think, if memory serves. But Jarrett would win the USWA Southern Heavyweight Championship. He would also, on 10 occasions, he'd win the World Tag Team Championship there on 15 occasions. Yeah. So he was using his father's own promotion to get himself over. He basically joined the WWF in, as it was at the time, the World Wrestling Federation in 1993. And basically his gimmick was Double J and spelling out his name, JEFFJARRETT. That's how that was his gimmick. And he was also supposedly a country star. I literally remember this rather famous song that became his entrance music. Which was what can I say about it? I mean, literally, what can I say about it? It was kind of popified country music. With My Baby Tonight, it was a Jim Johnson composition. But the storyline was that Jarrett had sung this, and he actually, quote unquote, performed this at In Your House to the Lumberjacks, July 23, 1995. It turned out that the roadie, Road Dogg Jesse James, who was sort of new into the company as well at that point and had been working with Jarrett. It was revealed that the roadie had actually been the singer on With My Baby Tonight, and that Jarrett had been lip syncing, miming. It was a good enough story, but I wasn't big on the song. I'm still not that big on it. It's okay to listen to, but it didn't make for great entrance music. He spent a year then in WCW. Became a free agent in the ongoing storyline between the Four Horsemen and the New World Order. Jarrett was inducted into the Four Horsemen, but then was basically kicked out. And he had a 1-year contract. It was up. He didn't resign. He decided to go back to the WWF. Now, this is when things start getting interesting. Jarrett returned on an October 20th edition of Raw is War and delivered a worked shoot on both Eric Bischoff and Vince McMahon. I mean, Vince knew this was coming. But this was one of those things that this was, how can I say it? It was quite a thing at that time. You didn't get a lot of work shoots. You don't get that many of them now, but at that time it was practically unheard of to have this kind of worked shoot. Let me move on to the next bit that really kind of rankled me, because he was never that big. I mean, you had this NWA invasion. Jim Cornette was setting up this stable of invading NWA, National Wrestling Alliance wrestlers. I loved this idea of having, you had the NWA North American Heavyweight Championship being defended on WWF. I think also a version of the World Tag Team title, NWA World Tag Team titles, were being defended there as well. Anyway, that's all well and good. But then he left that stable and teamed with Tennessee Lee as his new manager, formerly known as Colonel Parker in WCW. Then came Southern Justice, formerly known as the Godwins. Very much a weird storyline, that. And then he formed a tag team with Owen Hart. And actually, at that point, they were, Jarrett was really over at this point. Him and Owen Hart together as a tag team. They've been friends before, for years and travel partners. So the team had gelled immediately, which was a great thing. And you could see they enjoyed working with each other. And it was great. Really good tag team. And unfortunately, Owen Hart died in that awful stunt that went wrong over the edge. And then about a week later, Godfather was defending the Intercontinental Championship. He had been scheduled to face Owen at the pay-per-view. But Jeff Jarrett was basically asked to replace on this, I think it was an episode of Raw. And Jarrett was given the belt, the Intercontinental Championship. And he held it up, and as he yelled Owen Hart's name in tribute to his friend, and that was touching. That was moving. But then came this awful storyline, and it's one of the worst storylines ever in wrestling, and certainly one of the worst in WWE, where Jarrett became abusive towards his manager, Deborah. And this kind of led up to the whole China feud for the Intercontinental Championship, and Jarrett becoming somewhat misogynistic, attacking numerous females, including actress Cindy Margolis, and executing the figure 4 leg lock on her. I mean, it was, Jarrett would eventually abandon Deborah and team up with Miss Kitty, Stacey Carter. And he would later also turn on her. Jarrett's contract was supposed to end at just the day before No Mercy. But China later alleged that Jarrett had extorted, basically, $300,000 from Vince McMahon in order to wrestle at No Mercy without a contract. In other words, get a one-day contract worth $300,000. 2006, Jarrett asserted he'd been paid only what he was owed by WWE, and Jarrett also would state a couple of years later that not only were the negotiations cordial and in good faith, but he also got stock options in what was going to be the IPO of World Wrestling Federation Entertainment point, which occurred just 2 days after he left. He would return to WCW, become their world heavyweight champion. Well, a couple of times. And really, with let's say, once WCW was bought by WWF, later WWE, Vince McMahon actually appeared on Raw, watching Jarrett within the WCW venue on a television set. McMahon announcing his firing on air, mocking his trademark taunt of distinctly spelling out his name by saying that he would now be known as capital G, double O, double N, double E. Gone. Must have been, it would have been nice to have seen him turn to Jarrett and give him a real trademark. You're fired. But we never got that. Later, he would form Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling, TNA. And Panda Energy literally acquired the controlling interest very soon after this was formed. It was, literally weeks. Literally weeks. Although Jack remained a minority owner, but he used that power to basically become TNA's or NWA World Heavyweight Champion a number of times. It was a bad time, that one, because the only thing it did was it did help Jarrett put over some of the new names coming in, like AJ Styles, who I won't say got their start, but got their breakthrough in TNA. Eventually he would actually disappear from Impact. It would be like backstage only, and part of the team working, but not on screen. 2013, he would resign from TNA, would remain an investor after that point. But then he would form Global Force Wrestling. And that really didn't go anywhere. He would return to Impact Wrestling under the ownership of Anthem Sports and Entertainment and take and merge it with his own GFW, but it was never completely done. They announced that Impact Wrestling had acquired Global Force Wrestling, but actually that was not the case at all. Because Jarrett still owns his company, Global Force Entertainment, and that is still a thing. And of course he had that rather horrible Global Force Gold Shield scheme as well. I did not like that. This is one of the things that may have brought this Hall of Fame induction about. October 25th, 2017, Jeff Jarrett entered a rehab facility. It was set up by his wife and WWE. Apparently this was for alcohol. So maybe maybe he has completed this rehab and he is getting rewarded by, with some sort of Legends deal, a Hall of Fame induction. We don't know the ins and outs, but what we do know is he is now going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So we can add WWE Hall of Famer to the many, many achievements he has had over the years. He, of course, is a TNA Hall of Famer as well. He has won the AAA Mega Championship, one of the top titles in Mexican wrestling. Of course, he was CWA Heavyweight Champion in his father's promotion at one time. He would also become a 6-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. He would become USWA Heavyweight Champion as well. He'd be 4-time USWA World Champion. 4-time WCW World Champion. NWA North American Champion. WWF Intercontinental Champion 6 times over. WWF European Champion. WWF Tag Team Champion. He has an impressive pedigree. But is he Hall of Fame material? I don't think so. I don't think he's genuinely Hall of Fame. Because a lot of these big titles, especially the NWA and WCW, he was using his stroke, as it were. It was very politicized. So I consider those 10 titles tainted. Those 10 title reigns tainted rather badly. Same with his USWA and CWA championship reigns. This is father's own promotion. It's like Carlito in the Puerto Rico promotion that he works in. I don't rate those reigns at all. Other than that, he has, I think, been an amazing. He was an amazing talent in the ring. Great talent in the ring. Solid, dependable wrestler. But that doesn't make you Hall of Fame worthy in my book. I also think that if you're taking, as WWE seem to have taken in their statement that they released yesterday, they're only talking about his career prior to 2002. They're not talking about anything he has done since the WCW, WWF merger, buyout, whatever. Whew. So I don't think based on his pre-2002 stuff that he's Hall of Fame worthy. But the real story here, I think, surrounds, and if you'll pardon me, this time that he was in rehab that was set up by Karen Jarrett, his wife, and WWE. There, I think, is where the real story is. And I think this is setting up something down the line. He is going to be rehabilitated in more ways than one. He's probably... And... he's probably earning himself a run in the company as an authority figure, or as a manager, or some kind, he is getting a role. He is having one last run in the company in the WWE in some kind of role. And there's obviously been a meeting of the minds between Jeff Jarrett and Vince McMahon. And I don't think there's been, I think there was some animosity over that 1999 departure. I mean, how there couldn't have been, I wouldn't know, because Vince McMahon, rather famously, fired the Ultimate Warrior, who held up another pay-per-view match, I think it was at SummerSlam, over not getting enough money, and Vince acquiesced, gave him his deal, and then literally right after the match fired him. Backstage, fired him. So there was some, and again, I don't think the animosity that we saw from Vince to Jeff on that March 26, 2001 Raw, I don't think that was fake. I think that was real. So, yeah. I think there has been a coming together of some kind, and I think this is leading up to something big. What, I don't know, but I think you'll find some big storyline is in the works, and it may have something to do with 3 letters that haven't been heard on WWE television, at least not since Test and Albert broke up as a tag team. TNA. I'm thinking you're going to be hearing those words, those letters, said in that order, pretty soon. And some angle is going to come out of this. And it's going to start after WrestleMania. Maybe, and this is just me speculating, maybe this is something coming out of Backlash. Maybe at Backlash or after. Definitely after WrestleMania. Most likely to be Backlash or later. Wait and see. That's WrestlePod. I'm Ian Beaumont. Thank you very much for watching this unplanned edition. Back later this week with the regularly scheduled edition. And also my $10 and up patrons will get their monthly bonus episode later this week as well. So, till next time, thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay tuned.